Greetings, my name is Stan Houston, and I'm a long-time teacher, international radio broadcaster, an online teacher, and a business performance coach. And I've been helping people like you, particularly entrepreneurs, learn how to build their business, how to promote and market it, and perhaps find ways that you can make it successful and make it a good business, make it a good life, and not lose your soul. Hey, that's important. Now, what I'd like to do today is, thanks to a friend who has helped me, we now are going to help you. I'm going to teach you the 7 rights and responsibilities, the 7 things you need to know to pitch your good business deal to people like the sharks. Now, many people have seen this world-class television program called Shark Tank, in which a number of people who've been very successful in life and business now have some extra money. And they would like to give it, invest it, and help people like you who also would like to build a business and become successful and perhaps influential and perhaps be able to help others. What do you need to know when you want to pitch the sharks? What do the sharks want to know? Well, I'm going to help you. I need help. A friend of mine who is a venture capitalist and he is a fellow entrepreneur and the leader of a group called Serra Ventures, a wonderful, unique, and powerfully led venture capitalist firm, have developed the 7 ideas, the 7 things you need to know if you want them to consider your deal. And it's well put together, and if you know these 7 things, you'll have a far better chance of making sure that your pitch to the sharks will be accepted. So that's what this great class, and it's not great because of me, it's great because of the ideas that I'm using, that others have developed, will help you pitch the sharks and perhaps have the confidence you need to make your presentation so that people will help you, encourage you, and even give you money for your business project. Let's see if we can make it happen, and that happen starts right now as you sign up for the class on how to pitch and present your project to the sharks. Welcome. My name is Stan Houston, and I'm the leader of What It Takes, and I welcome you to this What It Takes Teachabout on how to get people to give you money. That's right, how to get people to give you money. How to pitch, perform, and promote you and your product to the sharks out there. Now, many of you are familiar with the fact that, at least throughout North America, one of the more popular television shows is a program called, Shark Tank. And what that amounts to is there are people who are building a small business. And there are 7 or 8, it depends, if they switch in and out. These are all men and women who made it. They started out basically kind of with nothing, and they built an incredibly successful business, and now they actually have money, not only for themselves, but they'd like to invest it in other businesses for their own benefit, and because they also want to help people grow, become entrepreneurs, and build their own business. And they go through quite an ordeal to find out whether the people that come into the Shark Tank, whether they have what it takes and whether their product has what it takes, that it's worthwhile investing in them so their business perhaps can go to a higher level and actually grow. That's happening right now. What is also happening right now is I am putting this class, this course, this episode, this Teachabout together, is this very week in the United States of America, Donald Trump is becoming the president. And this man has had no political experience. He's never even run for office or held an office, and yet he is now the President of the United States. What he is perhaps the first entrepreneur, a man of business, who all his life has been building businesses. Some of them have been very successful. Some of them have failed. Some of the divisions have been very successful. Others have failed. As one of my friends says, you know, if you're a true entrepreneur and business creator, you probably have more failures than successes, but that's how you learned, and that's how your successes happened. Now, this could be indicative of a number of things. Perhaps it is the era of the entrepreneur. It is the age where if you really want to make things happen, you have to go out and create your own way of giving value to people, giving them things they want so they will give you money. Part of a series that we're putting together in relation to this is how to get people to give you money. Think about that. That's the key business question. Maybe it's a key life question. What do you have to do so that people give you money? Either they buy something from you, they invest in you, they love you and give it to you, whatever. How do you get people to give you money? Now, what I want to do in this program is based on a friendship that I have with a gentleman named Tim Hare. Now, Tim could be a shark, but he's a good shark, if he is such a thing. What Tim has, a small group of teams that he put together to help entrepreneurs, particularly in the tech field, to get started in their business. And it's called Serra Ventures. And what they do is people with ideas come to them, and oftentimes they go out and start looking for them, and they say, could we put together an arrangement, that's called a deal, whereby we invest in them and we get some of the benefits if they do well. We take some of the risk for them, and what happens is they get the resources they need, and our investors, we and them, profit because we created a successful enterprise. Now, what he has done with his team, which has been very helpful, because, you know, let's say right now, some of you are thinking, I'd like to go out and see if perhaps I could make it on something like Shark Tank. And it's not only Shark Tank, there's other investors out there, maybe people who just simply want to help you. The crowdfunding, the investing by friends and relatives and other people through the internet is a growing and powerful phenomenon. And so you're going to do one of those things, or thinking of doing one of those things. And what I asked Tim to do is to teach me the right thing to do. What's the right stuff? What do we need to have? If I would go to you, or if one of my friends would go to you, what are you looking for? And what Tim and his great team did, they put together with a nice name, the Bill of Rights. Now, it's not some right you have, but it's if you want to fit the bill, you know, you fit the bill to be invested in. What are the 7 things they're looking for when they are looking to invest and put their money with you? Now, what we're going to do, we're going to go through those 7 things. And here's how we begin with the right things. First of all, the first right thing is the right team. Now, that surprises some of you. You say, well, aren't they interested in the product? Aren't they interested in my company? Sure they are. But first of all, they want to know who are the people they're working with. I remember an episode in Shark Tank one time, and these guys came on and they were really rocking and rolling, and they were pitching hard, and they had their product, and one of the women on the Shark Tank team said, you know, I can see your enthusiasm, I can see your product, and, you know, perhaps it might work. But then she kind of adjusted her glasses and said, you know what, but I have to be very honest with you. I'm not comfortable with you. I'm not so sure I trust you. I'm out. They were a bit shocked. But that was vital. That was important to her. It's you. Now, one of the things I've been selling for years is the idea that before people will buy your stuff, your goods, your services, they have to buy you. You make the difference. They buy you first. I don't care whether it's a truck or a taco or termite control, whatever it might be. I particularly worked for years in the financial services. They're not going to buy the insurance policy from a good company if they don't trust you. Who are you? And so what Tim says, we look for the people. We want to see, do we like them? Do we trust them? How do they work together? What kind of talents do they have? Do they have a variety of talents? Because they've learned that there's a certain mix of team talents and team skills and team attitudes that oftentimes are the critical difference in success. That's really important because they know that oftentimes as they go through the difficult times, it will be the people, the right team that will make the right deal. Now, the second thing they're looking for, okay, is the right thing. Okay, now, what you got? Now, I remember a number of years ago when I first began my teaching and consulting business, I had a good friend of mine. He gave me a whole list of about 20 people. He had trusted me. He thought I was going to do a good thing. He said, why don't you call these people and why don't you tell them that his name was Dan, and he gave his last name. And he said, tell them that I suggested that they listen to you. Well, I started to do that. And it was a great recommendation. I mean, he was wonderful. And everybody I called, when I said that, Dan suggested I call you, okay, oh, you know Dan, great guy. Then they would listen. Well, happened, and I went a little bit into my spiel, and then all of a sudden, the man said this, Stan, I know what you're doing. I know what you're up to. I've done it myself hundreds, maybe thousands of times. Then he paused and said, Stan, just cut to the chase. What you got? And what he's saying to me is, Stan, stop with all the fluff. You have something you want me to buy. What is it? What you got? What is the thing you have? What is it? That's now vital. And here's where many people make a huge mistake. They love this thing. It's their baby. It's wonderful. They've worked for years on it. It's been their dream. It is wonderful. But here's the problem. The people out there aren't you. I've made this mistake so many times, even in my online classes. I have a lot of interest. This would be interesting. This would be helpful. This would be useful. I bet people would be curious to know about this. No. Here's what Tim will tell you. What problem does it solve? The people out there, they're looking for something that will solve a problem or it will be a solution to something they need. How does it do it? What does it cost to do it? What is the thing? Now, oftentimes I tell people that you really won't be able to sell unless, first of all, your thing helps make them or save them money. Number two, it really improves their situation. Things are better. They feel better. They are better. It's a better deal. And number three, because of that, they are happy. They're happier. Now, unless it fills those three criteria, there's a good chance people are going to pass on it. So, what does your thing do? That's vital to know. What does it do to help me solve a problem, help make money, save trouble, improve my situation, help me grow, help me enjoy life more? What will it do to improve the life I'm living and the business I'm seeking to grow? And it would really be nice if in doing those things, my level of happiness and well-being would increase. All right, there we go. Those are the first two. You got them? Okay, right thing. Right team, right thing. Now I want you to take a brief time out now, and I want you to think about that. And if somebody would say, my friend Tim would say, tell me about you and your team and why we should work with your team. What would you say, and could you say it in 2 minutes? They're not going to listen much longer than that. Then they say, okay, what you got? All right, what would you say in 2 minutes? Now take a break, and we're going to come back, and we're going to go through 3, 4, and 5, and then we'll finish up. All the best to you. Take care now. Remember, 7 things you need to know to get it right when you pitch and perform for the Sharks. Hello, this is Stan Houston. Once again, we're teaching you how to pitch and perform so the Sharks perhaps will do a deal with you. Now, our first episode, our first lesson, we talked about how you have to know the right things and do the right things. And we talked about the right team, and we talked about the right thing. Now, we're going to continue that process to better understand what we have to have if we want to be successful. Now, I've spent years on the radio teaching people all over the world how to be on the radio and how to do television programs. Now, let me tell you where most people go wrong, just as most entrepreneurs go wrong. Oftentimes when I'm teaching people how to be on the radio and how to perform, I said, okay, now we're going to go out and we're going to create a radio program. And they said, what is it going to be about? I said, well, that's up to you. Well, they come back and they've got all kinds of wonderful ideas about things that they're interested in, a topic. Obviously, the whole world, the whole dictionary, the whole encyclopedia, the whole internet is full of things that perhaps they could create a radio program on. And I would always frustrate them because one of the first questions I would ask is not, what is your program? I would simply say is, who are you talking to? Oh, well, everybody. I mean, everybody? Yeah, this is broadcast. We're going to try and reach everybody we can. We want a huge listening audience. And this is such good stuff, just hundreds and thousands, maybe millions of people will like it. I said, you know, that doesn't work. Before you begin a book, before you begin a radio program, before you begin anything that you're going to try and put into the marketplace, you have to know, who is it for? Who's the audience? Who will care enough to turn that radio on and leave it on? Because they happen to be the people who might want to know what you're talking about and might want to buy what you're offering. Who are they? And why are you talking to them? So, what Tim will say, number 3, it's the right market. Who are the people out there? How are you going to reach them? Do they have enough money? Do they care? Who is the marketplace that you... Because, as we often used to say in radio, if you try and reach everybody with everything, you will reach nobody with nothing. Got that? Radio talk, class... And I make mistakes on that all the time. Okay? Who are you talking to? You know, who are they? What about them? Can you tell me everything you can about them? Now, oftentimes I would simply say is, I want you to tell me the person, the one person. If there were only one person in your radio program, who would that person be like? Name, give me as much as you can. Name all the details about them. And what my friend Tim will say is, tell me about the people that this product is for. And how can we reach them? Will they really be interested? How can you connect? Is there a market out there? Because the world is full of things in the marketplace that nobody buys and nobody can sell. So what is the market? Who are you trying to connect with? Now, Tim is going to ask, how do you think? Now that we know that, well, how are you going to do that? What's your strategy? What's your long-term way of responding? As one of my friends said, don't have a plan necessarily, but have a picture. Where are we going? What are we up to? In fact, Donald Trump has a rather interesting comment where he says, there are so many things that go wrong that a plan is not very helpful, because if you're just working the plan, as soon as the plan doesn't work, what do you do? And so part of your strategy is to have a real picture of what it is you can achieve and what are some of the things that you will begin to do to get from here to there to there to there. What's the strategy? How practical is it? Can it be funded? I mean, you might be able to sell. Okay, let's say you're like the pillow guy. And I always wondered how he did that, and I found out. But what if you want to say, I've got this wonderful pillow to sell? But what if it cost $150 to sell, to make that pillow? How are you going to sell a $150 pillow to people? How are you going to do that? How are you going to reach them? What's your strategy for making it, creating it, distributing it, making it available so that people will eventually do what they don't want to do, and that is to give you money? What's your strategy? And what's your strategy when things go wrong? Because they will go wrong. Something will get screwed up. Adversity is part of the plan. Count on it. There is a saying in war that no battle plan ever truly survives the first shot. After that, it is the quality of the people who can improvise, who can change on a dime, can make changes, but they're guided by some kind of vision or strategy or picture or possibility. They've thought through in good and great detail how they're going to get to the place they want to be. So Tim's going to say is, tell me how we're going to do that. Tell me how we're going to achieve these wonderful goals. And by the way, what are the goals? And how are we going to achieve that? So there we go. Do we have the right market? Do we have the right strategy? And timing is everything. Let me just tell you a personal story. I loved radio. Still love radio. I'm involved in radio. But you know what? A number of years ago, I sat down and talked with a guy, and I said, let's start this internet radio station. That's going to happen. Well, you know what? I was right, but I was wrong, because that was too far in advance. What we tried didn't work. I was way ahead of the game. Now I'm hopefully right in the middle of the game. In fact, I'm a little bit late to the game now, because the internet, the podcast, the world of internet radio is going and growing, and major celebrities and major people are getting involved in it. But I kind of shake my head, and one of my friends looks at me, and one of my dear friends kind of shakes her head and says, Stan, many times you're just too far in front of things. And it didn't work, because our timing wasn't right. Getting the timing right. It's the proverbial, 3 bears. Are you too early, or are you too late? Or is it just right? Is the timing just right? Is it right for us Is this the timing to actually talk about how to help entrepreneurs around the world? Not big-time entrepreneurs, but people just like you. What is the timing that we need? And they're going to look at, is it the time right? There's a wonderful line in the Hebrew Scriptures which describes a group of people where I oftentimes say these people are called the people of Issachar, and it's the king. King David had them as advisors, and it said they understood the times and knew what to do. They understood what's going on and what to do, the timing. So there we go. Okay, stop right now as we take a brief break and go through the 5 things. And again, the question for you is, if my friend Tim were saying, okay, tell me about the people we're going to reach. Okay, tell me how we're going to do that. Can you show me that the time has come? Like, Marvin K. Mooney, the Dr. Seuss book. The time has come, the time is now. The time has come, the time is now. It's the right time. How do you know that? And can you demonstrate and show that to me? All right, take a break, and then we'll finish up with the last 2. All the best. Hang on. This is great. Welcome to episode number 3 in this kind of trilogy. 3 separate, discrete, but connected little episodes. What it takes Teachabout. And what we're about, of course, is understanding what are the 7 things you need to do. You need to know to, pitch to the sharks, to perform in front of them, to do so in such a way they say, you know what, let's shake hands on that deal. That's the goal. All right, we've gone through the first 5, and you have them all down. Remember them now? I hope you do. Say them back to me. Did you get it right? Okay, check your notes. We'll summarize later. All right, here we go. There was a program many, many years ago on television here in America called The Price is Right. And that was the deal. In effect, the people who could guess what the price was got the deal. And that was the deal. Is the price right? Now, there are all kinds of wonderful things out there. But is the price right? Will people actually pay that amount of money for this thing? What's your price point? Why does $9 work better than $10? Or is that too cheap so that people think it's junk? If we do it that way, okay, oh, you're selling it for $10. All right. Well, how much does it take you to make it? $9? Wow. So you're only making $1. There's an old salespeople, business person joke that says they're losing money on every sale, but they're hoping to make it up in volume. Of course, we all laugh about that. Well, yeah, I'm losing a little bit of money, but if I just sell enough of them, I'll make it up. Well, that's a funny joke, but I actually have a very good friend that happened to him. He just wasn't keeping track of the number, but he was so good. He loved cars. His family had been in the car business. In fact, his father had been a major executive in the glory days of General Motors a number of years ago, and he loved cars. But he'd never been in the car business. He just loved the car business. In fact, his degree was in public health, but he wanted to do cars. And he got a car dealership, and he had some money. He invested some of his own, got some of his friends to invest with him. And he tells how they were selling cars. He said, I'm really good. He said, I was a good salesman. I hired good salespeople, and we were moving cars out of there. He said, and the one day, my accountant called, and he said, Rob, I got to talk to you. And there was Rob, and there was his accountant, and there was the banker, and he said, Rob, you're broke. We've been losing money. And he said, I looked at them and said, but we've been selling so many cars. You know what? The economics were not right. One of my friends said, you can work outside the box. You can, connect all the dots, and all of that. But if the price is not right, you're going to be in trouble. Particularly you and the investor. Eventually, the numbers can't perform magic. They can't perform miracles. They have to work. You can't do money out of the box. It just doesn't work. And recently, particularly, there's a project here in America on healthcare, and I still remember that, though they're talking about repealing part of the deal, I still remember a top-notch accountant and a man who had a lot of experience in the business. He simply said, it's a wonderful idea. It's a great idea. But then he said, but the numbers don't work. The numbers don't work. You can't make the numbers work. And he said, and if the numbers don't work, then it will fail, or you have to keep putting more money into it. He says, the numbers had to work, and they don't. That's vital. They'll want to know that. Now, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, what's the 7? Well, it's the great it factor, as my friend Tim would say. You know what? Eventually, you have to take the risk of, after doing all the good due diligence and research, you just have to say, how do I feel about it? Does it feel right? And it's very much, now this will drive you, if you're going to the sharks, you'll say, but, and you'll try to demonstrate that you've checked all the boxes, all 6 of them. And they'll say, but you know what? No, I'm out. We don't want to do the deal. And there's nothing you can argue about. Every salesperson has experienced this. I particularly found this working with people who would say, what I would do, and these people were doing the numbers. It was insurance and financial services. He said, I would demonstrate that it was a good deal. It was really right. He said, I would do everything, and they still would say, no, not now. I don't think so. It doesn't feel right. That's life. The great what if. What is it? What is the thing that is the thing? Now, let me tell you, part of answering number 7 is in answering number 1. Part of the it factor will deal with you, your spirit, your energy, your personality, trustable, likeness, image. It's a million things, it seems, that will go into what could be the final it factor. And then after all of that, they may finally say, well, you know what? You're right. And then there might be some back and forth. Well, do you want this? Do you want that? Then we get into negotiation, and that's a whole different deal. And by the way, don't think that you are good at negotiation unless you've had a lot of experience in it or a lot of coaching in it, because you're probably not. I have seen men and women on the Shark Tank, because of the love of what they have been offered a great deal, and they negotiate it away by trying to get something that's not there or something that won't work for the sharks. And they just say, and how many people they say have walked through that door and said, they were going to do a deal and now they won't. You lost it because you didn't know how to do the deal. You were too much in love with what you had and what you've got, and you were blind to what they wanted and what they needed and what would work. Okay, you now know from my good friend at Serra Ventures 7 things that are a part of the bill that they are looking for. The right things, the right stuff. And I'm trusting right now that this will be helpful to you. Now, if you'd like to know more about all of this, You start, just simply contact me. I can introduce you to lots of people and we can talk about lots of things. But there I am, stan@stanhusted.com, stan@stanhusted.com. And let's see how we, either as your coach, as your teacher, as a broadcaster, or as someone who simply cares about you, how we can begin to help you do the right thing in the right way at the right time so that things will go right for you and your business. And may I just add this. There's a thing that is even above the 7, and that is the right spirit. Go out and bless other people. Do good things for other people. Be the kind of person that helps change the world for the best. You know what? Part of the way good deals and good things come to you is because you put a lot of good things and good ideas and good blessings out in the universe. And you know what? Those things eventually have a habit of coming back to you. It turns out to be a good investment. I'm Stan Husted for What It Takes, a Teachabout. Now, you've got a little bit of the discovery, design your strategy, and go do it. Bye for now.